We're voting for this?
This video is brought to you by the Spider Combat Arena. Support the Kickstarter today.
Oh my goodness. So one of the issues that I've mentioned in my previous videos when it comes to voting, whether it's Trump or whether it's Biden, is not necessarily the policies that they advocate for, but in many cases, it's the company that they keep. So I know, especially for me and many other black people, when it comes to Trump and his anti-illegal immigrant stance, all for it, 100%. But then you have to take into account, how's that going to get passed? The only way it's going to get passed, with Democrats is if there's some type of amnesty involved. That's the only way I see that happening. There's no way they're going to agree on anything else unless it includes amnesty for the people here, and then they put up some BS policy about stopping people from coming in. But at the end of the day, people are already here. That's the issue I have. The people are already here, and I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon. Because if you look at, when they try to get them to go to court, nowhere to be found, and they just stay here, bruh. That's how that works. In addition to that, when you look at Trump, you have to look at as far as the anti-black racist base. And he does have a very, very overt anti-black racist base. And it was one of the reasons that, I distanced myself from the party, because I realized there was a hypocrisy that only seemed to favor white Americans. And how does that work, right? If we're all Americans, but you only favoring this group of Americans, then how does that benefit, everyone else? It doesn't. How does that benefit me? It doesn't. Now, this leads me to this most recent incident when it comes to the Charlie Kirk podcast. Now, to give Trump some credit, Trump did call out, or at least was upset with Charlie Kirk for, distancing the party with black Americans via Charlie Kirk's racist rhetoric. Now, it seems that Charlie Kirk has since doubled down on it. And he has Jack Posobiec and who's another anti-black, Israel Shill. And they're on this podcast. Now, the Charlie Kirk one. Now, I want you to understand, this has nothing to do with black people. Listen to me what I'm saying. It has nothing to do. What happened, Johnny Storm over there in the Israel embassy and whatnot, had nothing to do with black people. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even though they constantly try to rope us in. Oh, so that means you stand with terrorists. No, we don't. No, we don't. They always try to do that. Oh, so you stand with terrorists. No, we don't stand with terrorists. So then you stand with Israel. No, we don't stand with Israel. That has nothing to do with us. When was the last time Israel stood with us? Y'all are treating black Jews over there like, filth. So what are we talking about here? That has nothing to do with us whatsoever. But somehow, I don't know what it is. Maybe they apparently just have black people on their mind. I've never come across someone who talks more about black people than an anti-black racist, than a saltine. I've never come across anyone who just has black on their mind. Black. Everything. They somehow redirected to talking about black people in some disparaging manner. It's weird. I think it's a mental health condition, I would say. I say that it stems from, how some certain mental health can be passed on throughout the generation? Lineage of evil. And I think that anti-black racism has been passed on. Nevertheless, they're talking about Johnny Storm, right? And the issue of RIP. Now, they're saying that people had an issue with them saying rest in power, because rest in power was a term directed at black Americans.
Some people said rest in power, and so they say rest in power, which is the same thing they've said about George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, a lot of those kind of BLM caused celebs. And this caused backlash because several people were saying you can't say rest in power for Aaron Bushnell, because that's actually a phrase you should only use for black people who are killed.
Now, I just, the low-hanging fruit, just the lowest of the lowest of depravity. And they, of course, sign it off as a joke. It's just a joke. But if you go and joke about them, then they start screaming and crying with their fragility. Oh, this is anti-white racism. Why is Hannibal black? Why is there a black Little Mermaid? This is anti-white. We're being a race, right? But they expect you to handle it, just to take it on the chin. Well, there you go. And if you respond in any type of negative way, due to their inflammatory comments, well, you're the problem. You should be ashamed. It's just a joke, bro. So he goes on to say that, hey, we know this is, rest in power is predominantly used for black people. But as we know that this individual happened to turn black, but they didn't allow him to use it.
Now, I will note Aaron Bushnell did become black, but they don't seem to be recognizing that transition.
Now, I want you to understand, in situations like this, the reason why I believe, I can't remember who it was, I think it was Ibram or one of them, who was talking about being actively anti-racist, right? There is no passive, I'm not racist. There is active, and then there is racism. That's it. You're either engaging in the system or you're fighting against it. So when someone says an anti-black racist statement like this, just making a mockery of a variety of things, if you're silent on it, even though you may not agree with the joke, you think it's disgusting and disparaging, and you don't, you're silent on it, you don't say anything, you are actively engaging in anti-black racism. That's what you're doing. That is precisely what you're doing. There is no, well, I didn't do anything, because that's what they want. They want this plausible deniability. That's always what they want. Well, I didn't do anything, but you allowed it to happen. It's the same argument they want to say when it comes to reparations or anything. Well, I didn't do it. But here's the thing. Many of the states allowed it to happen. Well, the North didn't do anything. Many of the states, the North was doing business with the South, and they knew where that labor was coming from. So it's this, well, it wasn't me. So once again, it's this manipulative, two-faced justification in their actions by saying, I didn't do anything. Inaction is an action. I don't know how many times they need to hear this, but that's what that is. So I don't have an issue when you have a saltine who makes an anti-black joke like that. Joke. My issue is with those who sit idly by and do nothing. Neither of them. Jack Posobiec or the other guy said nothing. Okay? One of them looked like they were trying to hold in a laugh.
Now, I will note Aaron Bushnell did become black, but they don't seem to be recognizing that transition.
Did nothing. And this is the same issue that we have when it comes to law enforcement. This is the same issue that we have within the Republican Party, within the conservative movement. These individuals, such as Charlie Kirk, Acundas Owens, and a lot of them, Tim Scott and the rest of them, will come out and say anti-black, stereotypical, racist statements. That's what they'll do. They'll say statements that reinforce, as far as white conservatives, racist, bias avatar of black Americans. In doing such, you're taking part in a system that is harming the collective. Because they constantly want to say, well, we're not the racist party. It's the Democrats who started the KKK. And it's like, well, we have situations like this, and I haven't seen any prominent Republican figure speak out against it. I have yet to see any prominent Republican figure speak out against the racist statements Charlie Kirk made against black pilots. When it comes to DEI or affirmative action or any of the racist stereotypes that this cretin has disseminated. None. I haven't heard any of them. And you want to know why? I would argue because they agree. They agree. That's very much what the party stands for. It's anti-black. That's how insane it's become. Okay? Because I make this point by saying when it comes to the litany of white victims at the hands of the police, what do they constantly talk about? Black victims. What do they constantly argue and scream about? Black victims. What do they constantly do 24-hour news cycles about? Black victims. So it's not even, in some cases, it's not even that they care about white people. They're using, as far as the lower class whites, to pit them against blacks. Whether it's upper class black, whatever, boule or not. That's what they're doing. They're falling right in the hands of Lyndon B. Johnson, where they're now making these poor whites, right? Because the poor whites don't live like Charlie Kirk. They don't live like Jack Posobiec. They don't live like that. But they got them, they're brainwashing them to think that I'm the enemy, that the black person down the street is the enemy, that the black person on the corner is the enemy, the black person walking the street is the enemy, that anything that befalls us is justified. That's what they have them thinking. And something like this, like I said, it's emblematic of the party right now. And unless there is a complete just filtering process, a complete culling of the herd, I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be very hard for them to garner any votes. But from what it seems like, what their history has been prior Trump is that they didn't want the black vote. They haven't done any work to get the black vote. They've never done any outreach in said communities because these communities are talking points to them. We are talking points to them. And that is not to co-sign any of what the white liberal does either. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe Lucas, it's just a joke, okay? Why are you guys so sensitive? It's just a joke, okay? That's all it was. Or if you can't believe, oh, got you. I'm all for jokes. Trust me, I'm all about jokes. I just don't like the hypocrisy. Because when I say white ignorant, I'm racist. I say black ignorant, I'm funny. So that's what I would like is some consistency when it comes to, hey, George Floyd or Breonna Taylor, that's a victim. But no, to them, that's a criminal. But when it comes to Ashley Babbitt, that's a victim. So that's all I require. That's really all most people require. And maybe you'd see some turnout. But that's not what they want. If you happen to have a disagreement, well, you're more than welcome to call in during disagreement days, which are typically held Friday through Sunday. There'll be a number on screen. You call in, we duke it out. Either or. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment. Let me know what you guys think. What is the future of both parties? Where are we heading? Feel free to share and subscribe and that fun stuff. Till next time, guys, be amazing. That's very much what the party stands for. It's anti-black.